Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Chillin with the Pool. I'm your host with the most, Pirate Master Deadpool Supreme. I hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving last week, like I did. I did, and I hope you all survived the Black Friday riots and carnage that the supposed shopping holiday brought. And if not, and you're like me, well, then it was more of a pleasant experience, if anything. But for those who lost their lives during the Black Friday riots, my hat is off to you. Now then, given that last week was apparently that last Black Friday was also Native American Heritage Day for some reason, and given the holiday itself, I figured what better time than now to introduce a brand new hero from the Marvel multiverse herself. I give you, ladies and gentlemen, of all races and creeds, I give you Kahhori, the reshaper of worlds. Do not be fooled by her name, by her indigenous appearance. Like so many things, it's not what's on the outside, but what's on the inside that counts. And if it sounds like it's straight out of Aladdin, then yes, it is. She is no ordinary young lady. You see, she hails from an alternate reality where, after the events of Ragnarok, the Tesseract fell from Asgard itself in the most badass way possible, and ended up and crested the earth, and the first people to find it were Kahhori's people, the Mohawks. They drank it, ate it, made fabric from the stuff that was infected from it, or I wouldn't say infected, but infused with it, and as a result, she and her people gained complete and total mastery over the Space Stone. That's what I like about her. She's not a lot of hard work and effort was put into designing and bringing her story to life. In fact, her very conception was what started it all. At least her legacy in that case. Don't believe me? Check the author's page, shall we? Yep. She started an induction with Ryan Little. Let's see. Kahhori is many things: Mohawk, a woman, a sister, a Wolf Clan member, and of course, a Marvel multi-dimensional superheroine. Yep, every superhero has its origin story. Kahhori's began in the 1500s, back when when young Wolf Clan Mohawk fell through a gateway to Skyworld and was transformed by the Space Stone. She shared her power amongst her people, reshaping her entire reality. This right here is basically Kahhori is very much the epitome of what it meant. Of utilizing a character to their maximum potential. I mean, her entire people took the powers of the Space Stone and maximized it to its maximum potential. I am not kidding. They expressed a whole new level of telekinetic prowess that would put even great telepaths and telekinetics like Jean Grey and Professor X to shame. I am not kidding you. I think her episode in the What If series was my favorite. Anyway, following Endgame, the writers knew they had to create something for the MCU's future, open and uncharted. So that means there was a lot of wiggle room to create new characters and fun stories for. Now, of course, they were trying to push for Captain Carter to be the main face of the MCU multiverse, but I think that Kahhori is definitely underrated in that term. I mean, she could with enough episodes, she could have been the MCU. She could have been What If's next gen breakout character, the first ones on the MCU since Maydays was in the books. You know, life being a cycle and all that. Anyway, according to this, the author, Ryan Little, reached out to Coriel. Unfortunately, let's see. Oh yes, he had a professor. The author apparently had a professor that was working with him on creating this character. Unfortunately, he passed away before the episode was even finished. But he was able to take that potential and really run with it, and it really shows within the episode as well. Of course, they even got to see Devry Jacobs, the voice of Kahhori herself. Apparently, she was also First Nation writer, filmmaker, and actress. Kawina, her. I'm very. If you're watching this, I'm very sorry if I've been mispronounced your name. Please sound off on the pronunciation in the comments below. Anyway, we're just gonna call her Devry Jacobs. She and they, which inherently is maybe non-binary, apparently a non-binary one. So, oh, okay. So she's identified as non-binary. So she just goes by they. But don't let that deter you. She makes a great performance. She speaks like 2 different languages. And according to an interview with her, by Angelique Rocher, she says that Kahhori is someone you definitely want to be best friends with. She's the kind of person. She's fun, adventurous, unadventurous, she loves her family, she loves her friends, and is pretty much all around. She's a teenager from the Mohawk territory. She ends up encountering the Tesseract, combines her knowledge and communal experience as a Mohawk woman to kick ass and save lives of her family and her community. Now that is definitely superhero material right there. Even she was like the first colonial superhero one. I mean, that's gotta say a lot too. So yeah, as you can see, there was a lot of time and effort and recent, and especially a crap ton of research that went into creating this character. Not only was she of indigenous and of Mohawk descendancy, she's also uber powerful, especially with the only with the space stone. Otherwise, she'd be told she's wise, she's fun, she's excitable, and basically she's just awesome. I think I like her. I mean, her episode was definitely one of my favorites. She utilized this. She and her entire community utilized the full potential of the space stone. Something that not even the current day Avengers did in the MCU. Hell, even Loki couldn't even do that. And according to this article, Kahhori is pretty much why her voice actress got involved in the voice acting business. To see stories like hers and to see characters like her. She grew up with the Kanahaway Mohawk territory with her grandmother, a first language Mohawk speaker, they almost lost their language. And according to this, in fact, there are 60,000 Mohawk people left in the world. They are committed to the community and language preservation. So she is definitely underrated, and it's up to fans like us and people like her to keep her spirit alive and for her to wear that ancestry and legacy with pride. It's like, yeah, it says, what are you looking forward to? It says, what are you most looking forward to folks exploring after reading about Kahhori? She says she's excited to learn how badass Mohawk women are, to learn more about who they are, where they come. They're a culture of women-centered, matrilineal, and hope that young readers who are indigenous get to see themselves in these characters. So yeah, it may sound woke and everything, but believe me when I say she is totally badass. Now then, if you want to learn more about the interviews, feel free to go online or check out the comic at your local comic book store. Now then, let's get into the story, shall we? In Skyworld, there was a Mohawk place of power outside space and time. And as you can see here, all of these people, the whole this realm, nay, this entire planet is chock full of space stone energy. Can you believe that? They draw the space stone energy from the planet itself. In fact, in this world, it's where they called Agua de Vida, which is translated from Spanish to mean the fountain of youth. And everything. So with that, and with their prowess in telekinesis, they're able together. These group can able to lift an entire building, can lift buildings, nay, entire cities. Now, if you think these people can, and if you think just if one group of people, or if like the Mohawks could utilize the space stone to do all sorts of awesome things, imagine what other races could do if they utilized the Infinity Stones to their full potential. Thanos was always thinking too small when he snapped away the people. And yes, I know on the internet it's been said that Thanos could have just made double the resources and everything, but again, he was just the villain for a reason. It was warped. He didn't listen to anyone else, and yada yada yada. But basically, the point is, if everybody, if all the different races utilize the Infinity Stones to their maximum potential, just like these people did, there is no telling what you can do. In fact, if there's an alternate reality out there in a fan fiction or not, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to read that and put it on my Tumblr blog. And hey, even and those who find it first, you'll get featured in the next video I make. Yeah. And in this world, Kahhori is even friends with Eitri, the dwarf king of Nidavellir, the master forger himself. Kahhori is definitely friends with everyone. Oh, and you'll never guess who she fights in this reality. Oh, check this out. This is her world's Loki, heir to the throne of Jotunheim. Dude, this guy, I know that. I mean, look at this guy. This variant of him is pure reeks of ice demon evil. I mean, seriously, he makes the Ice Walkers from Game of Thrones look like punks. And believe me, that's saying a lot. Now, I know that I definitely prefer the version of the ice version of him where he's friends with Thor in the What If Thor Was the Only Child, and definitely this. But truly, for this one's dark side, chef's kiss. This is Loki's ultimate dark form of dark evil. Look, he's even got the belt of skulls too, so you know that he means business. And look at that. His dark shadow is like waiting for a truly worthy master to air for all right for the taking. Yep, he's definitely a villain, all right. Yeah. Loki, I warned you never to come back. I don't know how you slipped past our defenses, and I'm going to make sure it does not happen again. So she's the first one to go on why Mohawk women are badass. She went up against Ultra Frost Giant Loki, powerful, the Prince of Jotunheim, son of Laufey, king of the Frost Giants, and first ruler of Jotunheim. And their worlds to conquer. And then here she ends up in the modern world. So, as a result, she ends up teaming up with this world's Daredevil and Echo to stop Loki. And look at this guy. I mean, this guy, the way he's faced, he looks like he can become a frost giant and the son of the Antichrist. I mean, look how he's drawn. Look at his eyes, and look at his long hair flowing down him, and he's burning with malevolent energy. As Patrick Star would say, he's just standing there menacingly. And that's when Kahhori swoops in and then tries to steal the crown right off of Loki's head. She literally tries to rip the horns right from the actual Ice Devil. So luckily Echo and Daredevil act as her backup. So they plan an all-out assault against Ice Demon Loki. And that's the thing. I mean, look, I get Loki's arc in some of the realities where he's actually, a complex anti-villain / anti-hero, whatever. But, and that's fine. In fact, I'm kind of guilty of using that for Kid Loki and for the Young Avengers comics and stuff like that. Because, I mean, again, he's still a kid and everything. But this guy right here, it's like, look what he says. I have drenched battlefields with the blood of Asgardians. Dude, you cannot get more hardcore evil even if you tried. It's like Odin said, Yost Odin said in Earth's Mightiest Heroes. If you haven't watched that series, I highly recommend checking it out because it's actually pretty cool. He says, this is not trickery, this is just pure evil. And I agree with him. Loki, this version of Loki, is pure evil. Look at that. He even sculpted a shield and axe out of ice. I mean, seriously, I would love to see Iceman go up against Loki just once. If there's a comic out there, please... for all you comic editors out there, please have Iceman be at maximum potential fighting a variant of Loki. Excuse me. But yeah, I would love to see this version of Iceman battle this version of Loki. Just saying. And then Kahhori pretty much tries to take down. He can't control that much energy. But Loki, being the arrogant prick that he is, decides to test it out on Midgard, and he takes it away to someplace more, quiet. Oh, and before we continue any further, check this out. Remember that Spider-Boy episode that I shot last week? Well, guess what? Coming this Christmas, Spider-Boy teams up with with the one and only Kidpool. That's right, the kid from the Deadpool Corps. People have the team up that you didn't know you needed, but thank God you're getting. That's right, we haven't seen Kidpool since his time in Dreadpool versus Deadpool, the finale of the Dreadpool trilogy. Yep, Spider-Boy and Kid Deadpool are teaming up. Two superpowered elementary schoolers join forces, and the world is not ready for it. Written by, you guessed it, Christopher Yost. He definitely knew how to cook with comic book characters and expanding their mythologies. Hell, Earth's Mightiest Heroes alone is proof of that. So, don't come. Oh, yeah, it says right here, December 2024. And by that, and if you want a specific date, Christmas Eve. So feel free to pick it up either this Christmas or to start your new year off right with Kidpool and Spider-Boy. Coming soon to a comic book store near you. And now, back to the show. Kahhori ends up landing in a universe popular with three variants of the Moon Knight, aka Khonshu's Fists of Vengeance. I think Moon Knight is definitely an awesome version of Batman and Spawn put together. I mean, like Spawn, he too was a mercenary, but was killed during battle and made a deal with a vengeful god to become his avatar in hopes of gaining extra life. And as a result, he was. And he did. And he says, right, and you know something about the moon that we don't. I sure do. The moon is our grandmother. You don't harness her power, you let her into your heart. You don't claim her spirit, you honor it. And this to them is Mohawk lore of how the moon is their people's grandmother. She's a part of your life, not because of what she gives you, but because she's a part of your family. Yep. This Kahhori really is the heart and soul of her comic. She brings just so much. She drops so many knowledge bombs. I'd like to dig into that. I mean it, but we have bigger business. So you can tell that she definitely hit a chord with Moon Knight, and it knows that there's a lot more to the moon than just petty revenge. And of course, here comes Ice Giant Loki, smashing through the very wall of reality. As you can see, he unintentionally broke the fourth wall, or at least a wall, because he literally just smashed right through this. There's such a chilling effect, freezes you right to your bones. See, this Loki, Ice Demon, Frost Giant goes hard. I mean, they really went all out with this. I mean, I'm a fan for the super villain, or like the sympathetic villain arc as much as the next person, but just give us old-fashioned evil super villains. Ones like Mr. Sinister. I mean, that guy's definitely not sympathetic, and he didn't have a redemption arc, and he became much stronger for it. And so, Kahhori and Moon Knight definitely team up to try and whoop Loki's ass. In all different ways. If you found yourself here, then you are of the lost. My grandmother is always with me. My home is always with me. Even as a traveler, I can always return to where my journey began. Back to the bones of my ancestors. See, she drops mad knowledge bombs because she knows this is a young woman who definitely has her priorities in check. She always honors her roots. She's true to herself and her heritage, and honors it every day through pride and through pride and action. And of course, they land in upstate New York, ancestral Mohawk territory. So she tries to warn Loki that the powers of the Space Stone really would melt away, like dark matter. Well, you take it from me. It's mine. The power's inside of me, and I will not stop until I get what I deserve. Oh. Usually when villains say that, it's karma usually comes to take a chunk out of their ass one way or another. See, then there's a lot you're going to miss along the way, especially if you rush into those powers. I have mastered powers faster than you could ever. You might think so, but there's a reason we don't use them. Go off. You stopped my armies from invading once, but nothing will ever stop me again. Loki just rushed into his powers. He was so eager to feel their energy, he didn't take the time to actually get to know them. Kahhori's wisdom knows no bounds, and she said, I don't have to stop you if you just burn yourself out. I tried to warn you. If you'd slowed down, you would have learned about the Space Stone's curse. Anyone who abuses the Space Stone's power is banished to the planet of lost souls. Pretty much like where the Tesseract pretty much sent Loki to Vormir, home of the Soul Stone, just like Red Skull in Captain America, the First Avenger. So yeah, that's what they call Vormir, the planet of lost souls. And as a result, it isn't the energy it gives us, it's the doors it helps us open, the wonders it helps us find, the wisdom it lets us share. Today was a wild ride, and if I ever find myself in that universe again, I think I'll take my time, because who knows what I'll find. And yeah, that's pretty much just the end of And that, dear viewers, is the end of the story. So yeah, Kahhori really is the heart and soul of her story, and is definitely a standout hero amongst a plethora of multiversal heroes. She's truly unique and is wise beyond her years, utilizing the power of the Space Stone and the wisdom enough to wield it. She is definitely a goddess. In terms of mentality, she is a goddess amongst humanity and stuff. So yeah, if you want to learn more about Kahhori, just feel free to watch the What If episode. At the very end, I like the ending of that episode, minus the darker, strange spot, because she basically uses this power to help strike a deal with Queen Victoria at the time and make peace with the English settlers, hoping to strike up a deal to bring an era of peace and goodwill, geopolitically and diplomatically. So she was using her mind as more than her might, because she truly truly earns the phrase. It's like Spider-Man's Uncle Ben always said, with great power comes great responsibility, and no one embodies that better than Kahhori, the reshaper of worlds. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all about the time I have for tonight's episode. I hope to see you all again next time when I dive into another fun-filled adventure. Will it be Marvel? Will it be DC? Only time will tell. Until next time, true believers, Excelsior!